Hi, my name is Dave Pickles, and I'm the founder and chief technology officer for The Trade Desk. The ad tech industry calls us a demand-side platform, or DSP, but we've gone beyond that to build a data-driven marketing suite that powers agencies, advertisers, ad networks, data partners, and anyone else who wants to buy media. We offer marketers a single place to buy all forms of online media. Advertising is changing rapidly, and these changes are creating some big data challenges. At The Trade Desk, we're trying to make online advertising more efficient, transparent, and effective. Our mission here at The Trade Desk is to help marketers answer a really difficult question. What is a single display impression for a single user on a single website worth to my brand at this moment? We use massive amounts of data, algorithms, machine learning technology, and media savvy to buy online media more efficiently. The Trade Desk is the first sophisticated real-time bidding platform that gives marketers complete control. We are changing the way digital media is bought. Today I'm going to talk about The Trade Desk, our operations, and some of the data challenges we've faced. I'll also discuss the deployment and production obstacles we've overcome and how Citrusleaf No SQL key value store enabled us to overcome multiple production issues.
The Trade Desk is an online display advertising platform focused exclusively on the demand side. So technically that makes us a DSP, demand side platform. But we're careful to distinguish ourselves from other DSPs because mostly they're really operating as either networks or agencies, using the power of RTB to fuel their margins. We work mostly with mid-size and large agencies as well as some larger advertisers and act as a true platform, giving our customers unprecedented levels of control and transparency so they can not only make their campaigns perform, but also gain the kinds of insight into the marketplace that allow them to make their success repeatable and scalable. At The Trade Desk, we have access to every major source of RTB supply, including Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo, as well as some near real-time inventory sources. And while that's the foundation for everything we do, there's a lot more to building a great buyer's platform than just plugging into RTB. I'll take a moment to show you how RTB works and why it's so powerful. Then I'll walk you through a few of the ways we leverage Citrusleaf to solve the data problems that RTB creates. We've been using the Citrusleaf platform for over a year now, and its performance and reliability have been critical to our success. This slide gives a very high-level view into the evolution of display advertising over the last 5 years or so, with the shift to real-time bidding. Typically what you saw in the past was an agency, let's say representing Nike, would want impressions for people who are likely to be buying those types of shoes. So they review different websites like ESPN.com and they make a specific deal to buy 5 million impressions on a certain portion of ESPN.com. With RTB and a DSP, a buyer can have instant access to millions of different websites and can evaluate all of the available metadata about each impression to find the spots most likely to be valuable to that campaign. So instead of just having the opportunity to show an ad a million times, we offer the opportunity to achieve high volume while being a lot more selective about who we show ads to, when to show them, and what sites to show them on. Expanding on that example a bit, if Nike were to approach that same campaign with the Trade Desk, they could set up a campaign targeting Nike's display ads to 18 to 24-year-old males focused on the northeast region of the USA. In this scenario, you might have a user who's just browsing the internet and comes to rollingstone.com, which turns out to be integrated with the exchanges to monetize their site. The Rolling Stone site would have a piece of code on that makes a real-time call to one of the exchanges with a request for an ad to fill the space. The exchange would forward that request to many potential buyers, including the Trade Desk, and each buyer has 100 milliseconds, including cloud time, to decide if they want to serve an ad, which ad they want to serve, and how much they're willing to pay. Inside of the Trade Desk system, we sort through all of the data points that we have about the user, the site, the advertisers we represent, and many other considerations to form our response. In this instance, we decide we'd like to serve a particular ad of Nike's. We're willing to pay up to 250 CPM, or 25/100ths of a cent for this one impression. In this case, Trade Desk wins the auction. We actually display the ad to that user, and so that user, the 19-year-old male who lives in Boston, gets to see the Nike ad. In reality, a great deal of the calculation comes down to the return on investment that we're able to provide to the advertiser, and our ability to make good decisions relies on fast access to vast amounts of data. When we talk about the data that we're looking at behind this, there are many considerations that come into play. Advertisers have their own data that can include information from their site traffic, search, social, or even mobile ads they're running. It can also include third-party data that they've purchased from outside vendors or from other advertisers within the Trade Desk. The Trade Desk also uses its buying power to help guide decisions across all of our campaigns and make sure that each advertiser is getting the opportunities most likely to drive ROI, much like a hedge fund does when managing a stock portfolio for its clients. The most common types of data are derived from collections of user behavior facts and from historical performance metrics of the site, size, time of day, etc. But the Trade Desk's extensible data management system means that this data can be literally anything. Data is really the lifeblood of what we do at the trade desk, and Citrusleaf RTA powers another critical part of our data stack, our attribution system. Traditional ROI measurement in online advertising meant that after conversion, the system would record data about the last click or the last ad served and give all the credit to that single event, saying that's what worked. At the trade desk, we believe there's a huge opportunity to drive better ROI and also learn more about your audience by examining the full history that led to conversion. We operate our own ad server so that we can record every individual impression, every pixel fire, every click at user grain, and we use the RTA system to allow us to perform infinitely flexible analysis over that complete data set. Depending on the sales cycle of the product, we may need just a few hours of history, or we may need to look at several months' worth of data to find what the trends are that are truly driving conversions. For instance, a person shopping for inkjet cartridges is likely in market for minutes or hours. Search clicks will be extremely influential since they are very likely to just go to Google and type in "buy inkjet cartridge" and quickly make a decision and purchase. With the trade desk, it is possible to participate in even that extremely short window of opportunity with display advertising and then precisely measure the impact. On the opposite end of the spectrum, a person shopping for a big ticket item like a computer or an expensive service product might take weeks or months to make a decision and purchase. In that case, a careful understanding of what strategies are working is even more critical since it's so hard to achieve statistical significance with a small number of large purchases versus a flood of smaller purchases. Due to its flexibility, our attribution system is able to effectively optimize for both of these cases and everything in between. For all the problems I've just described, it's almost impossible to solve them using a SQL system in a cost-effective way. And any SQL system that would be up to the challenge would be extremely complicated to operate. Even among no SQL solutions, many of them can't consistently meet the performance requirements we have, and all of them have operability drawbacks. When we say TPS here, that's transactions per second. A good SQL server tops out around 3,000 or 4,000 TPS, and distributed SQL systems are notorious for being hard to deal with and expensive. Given the 100 millisecond timer that's running on the opportunity to serve the ad, and the 20 to 60 milliseconds it can take for the ping time between the Exchange's servers and our load balancers, our response time has to be extremely short. Anytime we take too long to get back to the Exchange, we lose the opportunity and we lose money. Likewise, anytime our data is unavailable, we lose revenue opportunities that can never be recovered. Citrusleaf's reliability in 1 millisecond lookup times allows a great deal of luxury in crafting our decision logic. We have time for multiple lookups, and we can count on it not to introduce any latency. In a system like ours, any latency also increases cost by putting additional concurrency pressure on the application, so consistency and speed are critical. On the attribution side, the requirements are very different. The data is much larger and the latency requirements are much looser. So we worked with Citrusleaf to craft a different version of the product that provides an ideal solution to that problem. We get all the same reliability and easy deployment we're used to, but with a different cost and performance profile. Perhaps most importantly, with Citrusleaf, we have the ability to continue to grow and scale seamlessly. The numbers I'm showing here look pretty different than the numbers from last year, and we're not showing any signs of slowing down in our growth. This slide speaks to the things that drove us toward adopting Citrusleaf. As I mentioned before, our SQL-backed prototypes were something that we knew could not scale. And the other approaches we experimented with prior to Citrusleaf created various problems that left us looking for something better. We needed a scalable, fault-tolerant data store, and we had a small number of highly specialized use cases, so Citrusleaf was a natural fit. The Citrusleaf cluster isn't something that needs babysitting the way a SQL system does. You don't have to constantly tune indexes and manage data layouts. It just does its job quietly and effectively 24/7. I've talked about some of the scale issues we've encountered, and I mentioned how reliability was a critical factor for us. There's one situation in particular that really highlights the operational competence of the Citrusleaf system. This was a case where our managed hosting provider did some unauthorized maintenance on one of our Citrusleaf servers. It took one node out completely and without warning. At the time, we had a 3-node cluster. While we were looking into the initial alarms, they took down the second node, so we were running on just one machine. Fortunately, we were able to stop them before they did anything too drastic to the second node, but the first one was completely killed. It took us almost 24 hours to recover that machine because we had to rebuild it from bare iron. We were able to continue to run on just the one node and then two without any performance impacts. When we were able to bring the third node back online, everything just transferred over to that third node automatically, and it came right back up and started running again. It really worked exactly as promised. We were really happy with the way that Citrusleaf handled that problem. So in summary, I'd just like to reinforce that Citrusleaf has allowed us to scale up dramatically while also improving our response times and reducing our costs. That's quite a feat. Citrusleaf has been extremely reliable, and we're constantly finding new use cases for it. I'm also consistently impressed with the people at Citrusleaf and their excitement about helping us solve our problems. My overall feeling as opposed to a generic SQL solution is that it's a real piece of software as opposed to a service platform that we wedge our requirements into. We've got a purpose-built, lean and mean data backbone that allows us to perform and innovate at higher levels.
Thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope I've given you a better sense of the data challenges that are out there, as well as insight into how the trade desk operates. As I mentioned, we're working closely with Citrusleaf for future capabilities and are extremely satisfied with our partnership to date. I invite you to contact them to discuss how they can handle your big data challenges. Thanks again.